Hello world, welcome to Monday Media Review here in Two Guys on the Couch. I am George.
And I'm Joe. We're here to wade through the bullshit and give you our opinions on upcoming movies and games. We're going to kick it off with our first actual, television review. We might do more of these later, but this is for the miniseries that ran on HBO known as The Pacific.
Oh, God, how after such a great series like Band of Brothers, I was so looking forward to The Pacific. Tom Hanks and Spielberg getting together to make a series about the island hopping war. And I was psyched. It's like, this is going to be awesome.
Awesome! Wicked cool!
They might as well just shit on our face.
So when we heard that Spielberg and Hanks were teaming up again to produce this island hopping Pacific show, because everybody was clamoring for it, and all the veterans that fought in the Pacific, they're like, well, where the hell's our show?
Yeah, it's like
everybody just kind of brushes over it, except for a couple.
Yeah, everybody talks about the European campaign, but no one ever talks about the island campaign.
Yeah, there's a handful of movies from the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatever. There's a couple of them that kind of talk about it. But in modern day, everybody forgets that we used to fight the Japanese because we're so friendly with the Japanese now.
Pearl Harbor didn't work out, so we got you with tape decks.
This show, there was no anchor character. I guess Sledge was supposed to be the anchor character.
Yeah, but he didn't feel like it. It's like the problem is like it really fooled us because the first two episodes were really good, and then it just went downhill.
Well, that's it. Go on. Oi!
When they were at war, they weren't at war. It's like they were always walking past the aftermath. A few times they get into battles, but it was nothing special.
The basic formula for every episode was build a story for about 40 minutes, and then they'd have like a 10-minute skirmish, and then the episode would be over. But the building of the story, what they were doing was, I guess, trying to build character relationships, but they never built any character relationships past the initial meeting of those characters.
Yeah, and the characters themselves...
They never evolved.
Yeah, the characters themselves never evolved, and they were very forgettable. I mean, it's like you watch this and you don't care.
There's a handful of characters that I guess are semi-rememberable because, like Sledge, just because he was a whiny bitch through most of it, or Snafu, just because he was crazy.
Explain what the episode where they went to Iwo Jima.
They wanted a face for the war. So they take this guy, I don't even remember what his fucking name is. I probably should have, made a note on this, but...
He's forgettable.
He leaves the show, he leaves the war in, the second episode, third episode, or whatever, because they need a face for the war, even though they only showed him he's only been in one battle. But he did a heroic thing. So he goes home to America to do the whole war bonds thing, because that was a big thing in World War II. So he goes home to sell war bonds, and then he disappears, literally, for 5 episodes. He's not in the show anymore. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he comes back, and it's about him being at home, and he's sick of being at home, and he wants to go back to the war. And then he becomes a gunnery sergeant, and he starts training oncoming troops. And then they're going to get shipped off at towards the end of that episode. They're shipping off, and he wants to go with them. So he goes with them, and it's Iwo Jima. Everybody fucking knows of Iwo Jima. It's a huge, huge battle.
I mean, we lost 34,000 men in one day.
And guess what they do in this episode? They use 10 minutes to show Iwo Jima. They don't mention the whole flag part of it. And all it is him kind of gung-ho, runs up Iwo Jima, they can get shot and dies.
See, this is what we're talking about. Every episode was like this. If there was a battle. Sometimes there wasn't even a battle. There was just one guy in a hospital because he was depressed.
I didn't mind that because it did show a different side of the war. I mean, there were a lot of soldiers that went crazy, and there are a lot of soldiers today that they can't take the stress of war.
Which is understandable. But I also think that the reason that this show was also highly disappointed was because of one thing that Tom Hanks actually said. He said that was a racist war.
It represents a war that was of racism and terror. And it seemed as though the only way to complete one of these battles in these small specks of rock in the middle of nowhere was to, I'm sorry, kill them all. And does that sound familiar to what we might be going through today? So is there anything new under the sun? It seems as though history keeps repeating.
People today, young people today, can't understand what these people went through.
And it's similar to the way they handle the atomic bomb. They do it in episode 9 of this series, and they handle it in one sentence.
Dropped some kind of new bomb on the Jap mainland.
Don't that beat all?
Oh, no, this one's different. Vaporized an entire city in the blink of an eye.
How?
I don't know. Anyway, killed a lot of Japs.
They should have showed the Enola Gay bringing the bomb in and dropping it. I don't care if it's sensitive. It is important. It is what happened. That turned the war.
Zion, it's over! It's over! The war is over!
And then the entire last episode is all about once they got home, and like Sledge goes through shell shock.
I'm sorry. I can't.
But they don't show what happens to Snafu when he goes home, even though he was a major character from episodes 4, I think, is when he first introduced him, all the way to the end of the show. And they just kind of brush over his ending.
I mean, it was poorly done. It was like...
Well, it wasn't poorly. It had a lot of production value to it, but...
When I mean poorly done, I mean talking about story-wise and act... It's like, it just...
You didn't care about any of the characters.
Exactly. The writers, it's like they didn't try.
The character arcs were all over the place, too. And for instance, the main character, which you're supposed to follow through this, he's kind of like the Dick Winters character from Band of Brothers, Sledge. His character arc, he starts the war, he wants to go into the war because he's really gung-ho about it, but his father tells him you have a heart murmur, because his father's his doctor.
And the father was apparently lying, because he knew,
But he tells him he has a heart murmur, but then it turns out he doesn't have a heart murmur by, like, episodes, I think, 4 or 5. Like, he's not in it for a couple episodes, and then it turns out he doesn't have one. He goes to war, he's really gung-ho, he wants to go to war.
What's it like?
Then he turns to get a little more aggressive of a character, and then he gets to, like, really bloodlust, and I just want to kill the Japs.
You're supposed to be observing? I see you with the goddamn sidearm! We were all set here to kill Japs, weren't we? So what the hell difference does it make what weapon we use? I'd use my goddamn hands if I had to.
And then he goes into this house where they're searching this house, and there's like a civilian that's wounded there, a female civilian. And then all of a sudden he just feels really sorry, and he's like, "What are we doing killing Japs? 2 seconds ago you were all gung-ho about doing it, and now all of a sudden your character's going to do a complete nosedive." It's okay for his character arc to change like that, but not within the freaking 10-minute span of an episode.
It was poorly executed. I mean, I can understand if he saw continuous tragedies, not just one person hurt.
Hey, what the hell is wrong with you? You feel good? Huh? Killing your first Jap?
What's your problem? He's a Jap. We're here to kill Japs, ain't we?
Yeah, World War II is not Iraq.
What? No.
It was a whole other beast. And and Hollywood seems to forget that.
I mean, if you're a World War II buff, you like World War II, you're probably gonna watch it. You probably already watched it anyway, especially if you have HBO. But
you know what? Save your money.
Just go watch Band of Brothers again.
Yeah, watch Band of Brothers, or go out there and get World War II in HD.
Yeah, that's a good show.